it. One, to show you if you have any time in your schedule, you can make time for creativity. I am lucky that I mostly work from home and my studio is right here, so I can do stuff like this on my lunch break. But no matter what, if it is calling to you, there is time for creativity. I just want you to believe in yourself and believe that you can make that time. So I'm not going to be doing anything complicated at all today. I have this small painting. I make these layered landscapes. Everything is painted separately, and then I tear them and assemble them. And I can't explain it, but I feel very pulled to make something with similar colors, but make it larger. And I have these prepared wooden boards where I put everything. This is a 12 by 16 wooden board, and I want to make one that's this size. I'm going to have some art at a local cocktail lounge, and when I went in to look at it, the person who had their art there, it was very dark and moody. So maybe that's what's inspired me to do some dark and moody stuff. So right now I'm just going to concentrate on painting the sky. I need to paint to about here. I've made a pencil line. I don't know what I'll do over here, but I am mostly going to be using this, my favorite thing for creating my night skies, which is Payne's Gray. It looks black. It is not black here. Maybe you can see. Oh, I just choked on my own spit. You can see it's almost like a blue, a dark navy kind of blue. I'm going to layer it on pretty thickly. Sometimes I will add in some ultramarine or Prussian blue. And then also I oftentimes will put in some silver. And then once it's completely dry, I will add some stars. I use a toothbrush and my Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. Oh my goodness. So mostly right now, I'm just going to work on this. I like to do a direction. I almost always make it this direction. You could make a sky this way. You could make a sky however you want. And you might think, well, you're just using mostly one color. Isn't it going to look the same no matter what? I don't find that to be true with watercolors. You can see, you can't see the brush strokes the way you could with an acrylic kind of painting or thick oil paint where it's actually like stays raised above the paper, but you certainly can see the direction of things unless it's such a thick, opaque coat. But I don't paint that way, so I don't think most people who paint watercolors do. So I'm trying to get just a base coat down, and it is just that Payne's Gray. I also thought I'd just come on here because it feels like a Monday. I had the long weekend, and I felt grumpy yesterday, and then this morning I was just dealing with some anxiety and grumpiness. The weather's not very nice, and I feel like that is directly related to my mood sometimes. And so I thought, why not come on here? It'll make me paint. It'll give me an excuse to paint, and also, I can make a video, share some feelings, thoughts, and paint at the same time. Now, normally, I would be listening to music or something, or podcast. I've been listening to Conan O'Brien this morning. It's always a good, funny one for me. And I have been reading my Martha Beck book, Beyond Anxiety. Just feels like sometimes I just feel like I want to let go of working on myself, but yet I can't stop doing things in order to make myself just feel better. I am definitely making a mess over here. That's cool. I'll paint a dark color over it. And you can see this is the edge of my watercolor block, and the way that it was attached is kind of sticking up. It's making it a little bit hard for me to paint all the way down there. All right, so I'm almost done with this first coat that I wanted to put on here. So now I'm going to go back with some ultramarine blue. No, I lied. Prussian blue. Prussian blue. If you'll recall the one that I just made, it was much, much, much darker. Look at me. Look at me. So if you watched the short that I posted this morning, it had nothing to do with art. I decided to talk about the steps in the book I'm reading for dealing with anxiety, or for calming your anxiety creature. It's not a monster. There's my silver. This is an actual like sparkly silver, which I don't think I bought that on purpose, but then I had it. So yay, it actually, you can't probably see it here, but when it dries, It actually sparkles. The first thing that I talked about in the short from this morning was noticing your anxiety. I think we as a culture might be good at being like, I'm so anxious, but not really feeling it, not really being willing to feel what it feels like, because it kind of hurts. Like some of these emotions bring like actual physical pain. I think I want to make it more swoopy like this. Yeah, that's a word. Swoopy. I always have it in my chest. I don't have it. I don't always have it there, like it's there all the time. But if I have it, it's in my chest, and I'll notice like the smallest worry or thought can trigger it, and it just feels like never ending. So actually, for me, the way I interpret noticing the anxiety is to actually be like, I see you, and like let myself feel the physical feeling of the anxiety. And then the second step is sighing, like I just did. It's letting out a long breath. Did you know that when you breathe out, it slows your heartbeat down? That slows your heartbeat down. And when your heart rate goes down, it sort of like triggers your nervous system to be like, okay, we can relax. So you notice the anxiety, and then you sigh or do a big, deep exhale like that. And I noticed that for me already, like makes my shoulders lower. It just feels a lot better. And then the next thing is to soften your focus, which might be kind of hard for me while I paint. If you're just joining, I want to create something like this, but larger. So I am working on painting the sky. Hopefully I have enough in this direction. I'll work it out. But now I think I'm gonna try to paint some browns, a brown that can go down here. So yeah, so the next thing to do, I have plenty of browns right on my palette, but I think to make sure it matches with the Payne's Gray, I'm gonna take some of this like raw sienna kind of color and mix it. And then we have a nice chocolatey brown. I think that's too dark. I'm gonna add some car yellow, which has a lot of green in it because I'm so careful with my paints. I don't know if I like any of these colors. That's too green. I will press on. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna add stuff to it until it's a color that I like. So then soften your focus. So like soften your eyes. One way you can do this is like lower your lids and actually like stop focusing on any one particular thing. I also find it helpful to know lowering my heart rate. Softening my focus. And I have to wait for this to dry. So I guess what I will say is go to my short, because I can't even remember the other steps. But hopefully if you are feeling some anxiety, you can go do something creative now. You can paint your own black sky. I'll be back at some point to show you how I make the stars. And you can do your own long exhales. Soften your focus so that everything is kind of more open and soft. And you can just reassure that anxious creature within you that everything is okay. And thanks for joining me for a few minutes, and I hope to see you soon.